Welcome, guys! Welcome back to the third day of our Christmas special week. So, today we have a very nice tutorial and a very nice gift for you. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. Today we're gonna be in Substance Painter, and as I've mentioned in the first video, I wanted to give you guys a gift, one for each of the softwares that we use. I'm still on the fence about what we're gonna do for Friday. I'm not sure if we're gonna do Blender or if we'll repeat one of this. I've been checking the comments. Some people want certain things, other people want other things, but we'll give you guys something cool, okay? So I'm gonna go here to the samples, and I'm gonna open this guy right here, which is the preview sphere. And what I'm going to show you right now is how to build something called the smart material. So again, as with all of the other videos, it's going to be a small tutorial so that you can do it yourself, but it's also going to be a gift at the end. So one of the things that I've found a lot of people kind of miss is details. So today I'm going to show you how to create a smart leather, like damaged leather material, okay? So something like this. Like a tileable material made out of leather that you can use for any sort of leather project that you want, and it's going to be customizable, which is great. So first thing I need to do is I need to delete these things right here. We don't need them. We can also delete that layer right there, and we need to start building up our materials. So I know that we're going to start with leather, so I'm just going to go leather, and I'm going to go for like this leather bag right there. So the first thing I want to check is the scale, and as you can see, this scale is really, really big. So by default, this object will have a scale of 2, so that the little grain of the leather, it's a little bit less like intense. I want this to be a different color, so I'm gonna sample this leather, and let's select like a reddish color. There we go. And roughness wise, this is gonna be like the nice leather, so roughness will be a little bit lower, like this, okay? Now, usually when you have leather and you damage the leather, you start exposing things from beneath the layer, right? So as you can see, we have this one right here, which is big grain, medium grain, and rough. I really like the leather rough because as you can see, we have this very nice effect. I'm gonna bring this back or down here. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna add a black mask. And on this black mask, we're gonna start building up our detail, like our smart detail. So I'm gonna start with a generator, very, very easy, and we're gonna do a metal etchware. We're gonna invert this, and there we go. So this is super common, right? Like we add the metal etchware, so on the little like borders of our object, we get this sort of effect. But we know, and you guys know because you've seen our portfolio reviews, that I hate when people just use a metal etchware or a dirt layer and they do not break up the detail, right? Like they keep things completely like affected, and that's not what we want. So I'm gonna right click here, and I'm gonna add a fill layer. And this fill layer will be a clouds. I usually like using clouds like this clouds 3. So as you can see now, let me increase the balance so that you can see a little bit better. We have this clouds right here, which are, well, clouds that are overriding the metal etchware because they're set to normal. However, if I were to multiply this clouds against the metal etchware, or in this case, I think it's divide. There we go. We can play around with the balance, and as you can see, we're going to start breaking up very nicely the different elements of our object. So now we are going to have metal etchware, but it's going to be a little bit more random. And you can change the contrast, for instance, you can change the balance, and also, something that I really like, you can change the scale. So the more scale you have, the more breakup you're going to get, okay? So there's a balance there. So let's go for something like that. There we go. And that totally looks a little bit closer to what we would expect from a damaged leather effect. But that's not all. Scratches are something that usually happen in leather as well. So I'm gonna add a new fill layer, and this is gonna be a scratches. Scratches right here. So this grunge scratches. There we go. I'm probably gonna increase the scale as well, just a little bit. Probably increase the balance. And we're gonna, let's try multiply first. No, we definitely need divide then. Or actually, no, in this case, I think what I'm going to do, just to have a little bit more control over this whole thing, is I'm going to duplicate this layer, bring it up here, add a black mask, right-click, add a generator, sorry, a fill layer again, and then here we're going to add the grunge scale. So the scratches, and I'm going to call this leather scratches, are going to be controlled by a different layer. And that's important. It's sometimes important to have like different control layers so that you can play around with how you want things to look. So look at that, that looks pretty cool. Now this one, I think I definitely want to add a little bit of height information. It does have height information, so let's go here to technical parameters, and I'm gonna bring the height information down, see that? So now it looks like the scratches are actually going down. which is very, very cool. And I think we can do the same thing on this one over here. So I'm going to go technical parameters and height position. Let's bring it down. Yeah, that works a little bit. It's very minimal, the change on that one, but it's there. I think I'm going to go back to this one. It's a little bit too much for my taste. So I'm going to go here. Let's bring the height position to like 0.47. There we go. That's a little bit more natural. There you go. So as you can see now, we have this very scratchy leather. And the cool thing is, this is going to be something called a smart material. And the smart material, you're going to be able to customize it to fill your needs. So at any point, you can just go here to this layer, to the ground scratches. And you're like, no, maybe this asset that I'm doing, I don't want this many scratches. No problem. You just lower the balance. Or increase it. Like, depending on how much or how little scratches you want, you're going to be able to modify it here with this little, like, balance effect. So very, very cool. So let's keep it low like this. Now let's add dirt, and leather is very interesting because when you like have dirt on your leather like objects, it's not like rust. It actually like darkens the leather. You can see it right here, how the areas where dirt accumulates get like darker. So that's something that we definitely wanna add. So I'm gonna use a rust because I like the color variation of my rust layer. So let's grab this rust fine all the way to the top. We're going to add a black mask, and this is going to be a generator. And we're going to use a dirt mask. There we go. Now, very important, we're going to change this to overlay. Because overlay, as you can see, I'm going to press the letter C and jump onto my color channel. There you go. Overlay will multiply the colors. If this is set to normal, it's just like sitting on top and it looks horrible. But if we set this to overlay, the colors multiply, and you can see that the crevices of the object become a little bit more interesting, right? Now, at any point, you can modify this to reduce the amount. I think I'm going to reduce it a little bit. You're welcome to change it back to 100% if you needed to. But we're going to do the same trick that we did for the metal edge, where like I don't want this thing to be everywhere, right? So I'm going to right click. I'm going to add a fill layer. Let's add, in this case, no, I'm not going to add a cloud, so I'm going to add a noise. So let's add this black and white spots. Let's increase like the contrast, and then we're going to multiply this. See how now that dirt layer is now breaking up into like other things, and it looks a little bit nicer. So let's press M again, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to see right here because we have shadows, which by the way you can turn on up here. There we go. But it's there. Like, you can see how the dirt is over there. Now, not only do I want the dirt over there, I'm gonna call this like a dirt layer. I would like to have a little bit of dirt like down here, like on the underside of the object, just to imply that things that are closer to the ground are gonna be a little bit darker because they're in contact, or a little bit more in contact with the rest of the things, right? So I'm gonna add a new layer, a new rust layer. I'm gonna call this ground dirt. Right click, black mask, right click, generator, and we're gonna add this thing called a position element. And the position, as you can tell here, it will create a position. So depending on where this thing is, it's gonna be either top or bottom. So in this case, I want this to be on the bottom, like right about there. Let's change this to overlay so that we can see. There you go. So see how we have only on the lower parts of the element, or of this sphere, we're gonna have the dirt. And we're also going to break this up. So right click, add another fill layer. Let's use another noise. And we're going to multiply this as well. So now we're going to have like dark dots on the underside of things. And by changing the balance, you're going to have either more or less. I think I want to add a little bit more like this. There we go. So now this material will know that whatever is closer to the ground of an object will be a little bit darker. We'll have like darker spots, which is, I think, very cool. So there we go. Look at that. And of course, let's lower the opacity a little bit. We don't want as much. Here, I'll probably go for like a 40% or so. There we go. Nice. Finally, leather also has this property where when it is exposed to a lot of sunlight, it kind of like washes out on the top, right? Like you've seen this, like that sort of effect, like on this one's right here. So it kind of, it's like a bleach effect, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add now just a white layer with no information but color, probably roughness, a little bit of roughness. I'm gonna call this like a bleach effect. There we go. Black mask, and we're gonna add a generator, and we're gonna add again the position generator. Change the global balance, something like that. I'm actually gonna grab like a nicer color, like this, sort of like beige color. There we go. We're gonna break this up as well. So we add another fill layer. We name this, I don't know, let's use another clouds. There we go. Probably a little bit more contrast. There we go. And we multiply this. There we go. So we're gonna have some like wider spots on the top here. This one I like to have as linear dodge because it's gonna make it like multiply the color and make it a little bit nicer. And probably lower the intensity a little bit. Like it's just a couple of spots that I want here and there. And again, remember, every single layer that we have right here are layers that you're gonna be able to modify as long as you go into the elements. Because one of the secrets that we're doing here for this smart material that we're about to create is that we are not painting anything. Everything has been done with a procedural like approach, right? With just filters, layers, and all of this alphas and textures, right? So yeah, there we go. Now the only thing I need to do is I need to grab all of this, guys, Control G to group them together, and I'm gonna call this damage leather. I'm gonna add an N for Nexttut so that you guys remember us. So there you go, damage leather N. And now you just right click and create a smart material. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna get this right here, damage leather effect. And anytime you need a damaged leather, you just literally drag and drop and you're gonna get all of these folders right here. I'll show you just in 1 second. I'm gonna export this. I'm gonna export resource. Let me place this on our assets. There we go. So let's call this, oh, it's actually gonna be called whatever the name is called. And there we go. So now let me open any other file. Like, let's see, what do I have here? Yeah, like the Majora's Mask, remember? So we discard these changes. We don't need them anymore because we don't want to save over the demosphere. And this is the Majora's Mask that we did. I'm not sure if I did it with you guys or if I did it with one of my other classes, but yeah, this is it. So I'm just gonna like group everything into a single folder, not to delete anything. And if I were to drag and drop this one right here on top of the element, there we go. Look at that. We have this very nice damaged leather effect, and it is following in a very random way all of the different elements that we need. And again, remember, these things are actually looking at the texture set settings that you have from your objects. So your ambient occlusion, your ID, your like texture maps, like all of that information is being taken into consideration here. You can see the rust here on the bottom part. Let me turn on color. So you can see that we have a little bit more rust over here than the scratches. Now, if you want to change anything, you're free to go and say, hey, you know what? I want a little bit more bleach effect. Well, just increase this. See how we get this increase over there? We can go to the position option and maybe go here to the global balance and increase this, and you'll get more bleach effect. So this is the great thing about smart materials. If you know how to set them up properly, and I just show you how to do it, you're gonna be able to create amazing variations, and all of your objects are gonna look very similar. So imagine you're doing, I don't know, like a big medieval scene. You're gonna have a lot of leather objects. You create one like material, and then all of the leather objects are going to look similar, and that way your game is going to be very cohesive with the general like graphic design. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. Let me open the sample real quick here. Let me open like matte. Let's go for matte, right? Like this little character right here. And as you can see, I can apply this leather material to all of the different like texture sets of matte, and every single part is going to look very nice, as you can see right there. So hopefully you guys like this tutorial. This is I wouldn't say advanced, but it is a little bit of an unknown part of Substance. Not a lot of people cover this smart material creation process, but hopefully you guys understand it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And remember, you're gonna be able to find this asset, the damaged leather material, in the link down here in the description. Make sure to check our courses as well. Give us a like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you back tomorrow for our 4th day in this Christmas special week. Bye bye.